it recording?
It is. So it's like, who's going to speak first?
Welcome to Archaeoscoop,
Yeah.
where every week we discuss news from history, archaeology, and the cultural sphere.
I didn't even have to say it, man. It's just, that is the message of our generation. That's
Well, Mark had paused, and I thought that he was going to introduce himself like he always does, and then
yeah,
he said, "Well, I don't know how I'm going to start because this is completely unscripted." And so,
yeah.
I thought Mark was going to start this week, and I just decided, all right, I'll do it.
Fine.
Fine,
Yeah.
fine.
Fine. Whatever.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
This week, as ever, or this fortnight, as ever, not senite, we have archaeological news stories to share, and I do believe it is your turn to go first.
Oh, I've got a goodie, and this week, no sad stories this week, Mark.
No sad stories? No?
Nothing to do with the I word or the D word or whichever D word you're thinking of. Hello to everybody in the comments who's now going to sign off on their favorite D word.
Yeah.
So my first story of the week is medieval toy workshop unearthed in Freiburg. So we have a medieval
Yes.
toy shop, which is amazing. And this is amazing because a lot of people, and Mark will know, a lot of people think that kids in the Middle Ages didn't play or that they didn't have toys and that they would just put in the mines and that's what they did. But it's not true. There were obviously we have toys from kids in those years. As it says, archaeologists discovered forgotten childhood treasures where
Yes.
they're only forgotten by the people who left them.
Yeah.
Archaeologists in Freiburg, a historic city in Germany, have, I apologize if it's supposed to be Freiburg. I don't know the way they choose to pronounce the vowels. So I apologize to everybody in Germany. And specifically in Stuttgart, which has its own dialect, uncovered a medieval pottery workshop where clay toys were once crafted. The remarkable find, dating back to the 14th century, reveals dozens of figurines that might have brought joy to children nearly 700 years ago. What began as a routine construction work for a new a finance school. Oh, finance school.
Oh, much rather a furnace. Finance.
Gross.
Ugh.
Everything burns.
A historic university in southwest Germany near the Black Forest has turned into one of the country's most intriguing archaeological discoveries in recent years. So hopefully that means they'll be doing the excavations and not build a finance school.
Yeah.
Excavations at the site of the future school have unearthed medieval pottery kilns, remnants of long forgotten street, that's nice, and dozens of clay figurines that might have once served as toys for children 700 years ago. The excavation, which covers an area of roughly 4,000 square meters, that's very large, lies in the so-called Nürburg-Freiburg First Medieval Urban Expansion, planned shortly after 1240 AD under Count Conrad of Freiburg. Today, before the new building complex with underground parking, facility garage archaeologists are racing against time to preserve what history has left behind. And so,
Insert obligatory Richard III reference. Hardy ha.
they found him in a car
Oh,
park.
hardy ha, hardy ha.
And so there are some, Mark will show some of the pictures, but there are some clay figurines. It looks like two people holding each other, and they look very similar. So it might be just sort of like a doll sort of thing.
Okay.
But there are a bunch of other things that they've discovered and it's just showing the everyday life of kids. So it says here, inside archaeologists found fragments of more than 40 small clay figures, women with headdresses, men in caps, horses, and mothers cradling children. The figures, though simple, are unmistakably toys. So not religious. We can X out the ritual.
No need for
Nonsense
the ritual.
from the Druid bingo. But one craftsman in the early 14th century seems to have specialized in producing clay toys. Dr. Jenisch explained. This discovery is a small sensation for Freiburg's history. There you go.
Okay, nice. Well, at some point, I'm going to make the bingo card from our previous episode a downloadable, so people can actually play along at home. I'm currently working on a high resolution version, but also as well, it's interesting because toys. I remember when I was a kid, I asked my when I was just a little girl.
And there goes the copyright
I,
strike. Thank you, Mark.
will I be pretty? Will no, but I was asking around basically. I was sort of asking as you do, what's the origin of toys? Hey, I've got toys. Why? Where did toys come from? Originally, tell me. And no one really could tell me. My mum would guess. My grandparents sort of shrugged. But the overarching wisdom of the time from adults in my life was that toys used to be exclusively for grown-ups, and sort of in the 1700s and 1800s, these sort of curios and almost like office, Newton's cradle type things. Well, dolls' houses, for example, dolls' houses used to be a curated hobby for the aristocracy, and while that is true, it's also undeniable that people have always played with stuff. And as
No,
you said,
absolutely. I mean, the oldest board game in the world is from Sumer, the Game of Ur. So
yeah, and there doesn't seem to be in that sense an age restriction on this on play. We find references I do believe in the Laxdale saga, the references to children playing at sword fighting, for example. All you need is a stick, for goodness sake. We have evidence from deep prehistory of kids doodling on, in dark places in caves, this kind of thing, not for ritual purposes, just mucking about. And it's so important because I think, well, first of all, there's this idea that French philosophy invented childhood, which is nonsense in the 1700s.
they didn't invent anything.
No, yeah, life is meaningless, but also children. But there's that, but also there's this idea that somehow that play is and would have been seen as somehow a waste of time, a distraction from doing something more productive, and especially in a sort of capitalistic sense, more economically productive. See Industrial Revolution and chimney sweeps. But that's not the case, and it looks like even in times when humanity has been under its most environmentally pressured, and literally, hunting and it was life or death, people were still playing. And we should know this though, because it's important for your development as a person, as a social animal. It's fascinating how
If animals play, so do we. We're animals. That's how it is.
yeah, it's just fascinating how these things somehow we try to deny these parts of our nature, and sort of
We
see.
try to say that certain things are only for kids and things. That's not true at
Yeah,
all. It's never been true.
no, it is fascinating.
If
Uh,
Peter Cushing can have a 5,000 person wargaming set, then so can I.
yes, exactly. Okay, right. So another archaeological excavation that happened in the UK, revealing something which is sort of counter to conventional wisdom, is my first story of the week, and it's
Better not have the I word this week. I
it,
swear to God,
it
Mark,
won't
I
have the.
will come after you.
It's fine. There's no I word. There's no I word. It's fine. This is from the Archaeology News online magazine, and the headline is: New study shows that Britain's economy did not collapse after the Romans left. This is
Surprise, surprise.
surprise, surprise. If you ask people about Roman Britain, and especially the end of Roman Britain, the first two words that people often mention are
Gibbon. Usually people say, oh, the Roman Empire died when they left Britain. You just go, well, no, it didn't. It just morphed and changed and became the Byzantine, and then
and
it
left
was still
Britain
around for.
in
Is it 410 AD?
no, not when in they left
Oh,
Britain and
financial ruin,
no,
yeah,
but resulting in
economic collapse.
if I turn off the lights.
Oh, I'm not saying that, Mark. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because that was Petrarch, and he was a bad word that I'm not saying. So no, I'm not saying it. No,
Okay.
absolutely nobody say it.
I'll say it. I'll say it. It's okay.
No, we're gonna get copy. That's it. I'm putting the druid here. Here he is. He's coming across the screen,
Just
and
no.
he's wiping out that horrible word.
Okay. Anyway, the idea is that didn't happen. and you're even
Because
and
it didn't
because
happen,
it
Petrarch.
didn't, and this idea of that happening, this calamitous time of collapse, both economically and culturally, is something which has been the darling of certainly early post-Roman research in Britain for a long time. But the research conducted by teams of scientists from universities of Cambridge, Nottingham, and others was undertaken by Britain's Roman town of Aldborough in North Yorkshire as a project that included the research of a major settlement of the Brigantes tribe, a hub of metal production. And Aldborough was the ideal case study to trace Britain's industrial history from Roman to post-Roman times. Evidence suggests that metal production did not collapse instantly when the Romans left, sometime around AD 400, 410. Instead, production continued in the 5th and 6th centuries, with iron smelting even rising during this time. A sharp decline did not occur until around 550, 600. But researchers speculate that the series of bubonic plague waves and possibly even small, that sounds like the worst rock concert ever, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yay! Wait,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Just the rippling through the stadium. DNA samples from nearby cemeteries confirm the plague struck eastern England in the 540s, synchronizing with the downturn in metal activity. So even then, that wasn't because people just magically forgot how to make metal, which is often the narrative. It fundamentally disproves the idea that Romans, as it were, I don't know, extracted that knowledge upon leaving, I guess, and that production methods, including the use of coal and ore sources established under Rome, actually continued for centuries. The evidence indicates localized islands of industrial resilience throughout post-Roman Britain and northern Gaul, rather than a widespread decline. And crucially, it all picked up again when we entered the Saxon and Viking Age. Basically, people continued. So actually, we're talking about a continuation of craft abilities and artistry, which then almost like I don't know if it happened further south in Europe, someone might even have called it a Renaissance. Hey, you
So
know,
take that, Gibbon.
yeah, take that. So by combining geoarchaeological data with historical and archaeological evidence, the study has delivered a much more complex vision of Britain's early economic history than had been assumed. Rather than a narrative of decline and downfall, the evidence points towards continuity, adaptation, and cycles of recovery shaped by pandemics, politics, and shifting economies. Damn it, I thought it was going to be a third P. Pandemics, politics, and shifting economies. Yeah.
Pecuniary measurements.
Yeah.
Pecuniary rights.
Yeah.
Actually, my second story is very close to that. So
Okay.
DNA pinpoints culprit for not waves of plague, but responsible for the world's first known pandemic.
Oh.
Ooh,
Oh.
delicious. The world's first pandemic, known as the Plague of Justinian, shout out to our friend Harry Turtledove. The
Yeah.
Plague of Justinian, after sitting the Byzantine Empire, killed an estimated 25 to 100 million people
Yeah.
between 541 AD and 750 AD.
Mm.
Scientists have long speculated about what caused the outbreak and where it originated, though historical sources from the period suggested that it may have begun in Egypt before spreading rapidly through the Middle East and the Mediterranean world. According to a statement released by the University of South Florida, researchers participated in an interdisciplinary study, interdisciplinary subjects, that uncovered for the first time direct genomic evidence pinpointing the bacterium Yersinia pestis, I guess is how you would say it,
Uh-huh.
as the cause of the plague. The team sequenced the genetic material from 8 human teeth, and there's a picture of the nice teeth, and it says
Nice.
it's a tooth from Jerash, and it's a very fine tooth. So the team sequenced genetic material from 8 human teeth taken from individuals buried in a mid-6th century, early 7th century AD mass grave, plague
Okay.
grave, beneath the former Roman hippodrome in Jerash, Jordan, a city just 200 miles from the ancient Pelusium. The study
Mm.
determined that the plague victims carried nearly identical strains of Y. pestis, confirming that for the first time the microbe was present within the Byzantine Empire between these times. For centuries, we've relied on written accounts describing a devastating disease. There are many written accounts of this plague,
Yeah.
but lacked any hard biological evidence of the plague's presence, said University of South Florida researcher Ray's H.Y. Jiang. Our findings prove that the missing piece of that puzzle, offering the first genetic window into how this pandemic unfolded at the heart of the empire. Y. pestis is also responsible for causing the infamous Black Death, which might have wiped out as much as 50% of Europe's population in the 14th century. Reading the original scholarly article about this research in Genes, and then to read about this evidence, you can go on to read about the Bronze Age plague in one of archaeology's top discoveries of 2018. There you go.
Okay. It's interesting. The Justinian plague, the Antonine plague as well. It is something which is known as a phenomenon largely due to the writing, but ironically enough, because of the writing and the way that they described maladies, it's been difficult to know for certain what caused these things. So in this instance, that's really good evidence. Obviously, the Antonine plague, I do believe, probably killed my beloved Marcus Aurelius. But
Boo-hoo.
Okay. But I'm sure he forgives you. He forgives you because he's so stoic. But it is interesting when this stuff is discussed and in particularly when it's shown in entertainment as well. Because, for example, it makes me think of Black Death. One of Sean Bean's most amazing deaths, incidentally. Have you seen that? Yeah. Obviously, we can't show it in this video, but wow. Sean Bean.
That's the problem is that he passes away too well. If he weren't so good at it,
Yeah.
he wouldn't keep getting roles in which he perishes so quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. If I can, I'll share it in the video for people to see. But I'm going to describe before we show it. There's this spoof clip of when Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas meet Gandalf the White in Fangorn Forest, and they're like, "Show yourself!" They can't see through the white light, and just out of the white light steps Sean Bean.
One does not simply kill Sean Bean.
One does not simply kill Sean Bean. Bastard.
All of Sheffield is behind him.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's interesting how my point being, before I got sidetracked by Sean Bean, is that it's interesting how it's shown as a little bit like actually with the Spanish flu, as this sort of this idea of it being an inescapable, quite appropriately enough, I suppose, miasma, this thing that touched everything. Whereas actually, it's very clear from our genetic history and histories that actually you would have had interesting survivals, mutations, and changes within the populations that would lead to this sort of evidence being possible. So these great plagues also result in great sort of an interesting genetic bottlenecks. My second story of the week is to do with legumes. I do love a good legume.
Vegetables, yes, I love a good peanut.
So legumes, in this instance, I do believe we're talking about lentils, and it's the story that was released 15 minutes ago, earlier today when I first read it. At least, anyway, it's probably been about an hour. Ancient crop discovered in Canary Islands thanks to archaeological DNA.
Yay, ancient beans!
Ancient beans. Lentils, now growing in the Canary Islands, have a history that stretches back almost 2,000 years. 2,000 years. The window wasn't quite wide enough. 2,000 years on the site. This is known in the very first, in the very first genetic study of the archaeological lentils on the islands that have been carried out by researchers from Linköping University and the University of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria in Spain. Since these lentils have been adapted for cultivation in hot and dry climates for a very long time, they may become valuable for plant breeding in the light of ongoing climactic
Ooh,
changes.
heirloom beans, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Over 1,000 years ago, indigenous people in the island of Gran Canaria used long-term storage to preserve their harvests, and this resulted in dug-out grain silos in volcanic bedrock in places that were very difficult to access, and therefore there were some survivals. Conditions were so good that DNA was preserved in lentils, and plant parts that normally don't survive survived into the present day. These millennial crops.
Do they say like a lot?
Yeah, they say like, they say cool beans. Hey, they say cool beans.
Of course, leave it to the British man to pick the story about cool beans.
Yeah. And they're into they're obviously they're into Transformers as well. Today's email
And was in third wave coffee, also more beans.
exactly. In the current study, researchers analysed lentils found in these grain silos by comparing DNA from archaeological lentils with those currently grown in the Canary Islands, Spain, and Morocco, and they're able to trace how the lentils and their cultivation have evolved over time. The study is one of the first to use archaeological DNA sequences from legumes. The study was published in Journal of Archaeological Science, and crucially, there is a link in the article, so do click through to that if you're interested. And there's a wonderful picture of two lentils up close. Yeah, it's what you need. It's what you need.
Beans, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. The more you toot, the better you feel. Eat a bean at every meal. Thank you, Skull Monkeys. Eat
a bean. Okay. How is it that the lentils survived that long? Researchers' theory is that these varieties were well adapted to the local climate. Another idea is also that indigenous women, crucially, who married immigrating men, may have played important role in preserving the knowledge of how and which crops can grow. To this day, Canarian women have more knowledge than men about plants and how they're grown for food. Yeah, that's an interesting sort of social aspect there. We also see in our study that different types of lentils are grown in different islands, even islands where it was previously thought that lentils were never cultivated. It's important to preserve lentils from different islands because genetic diversity can prove valuable for the future of lentil agriculture, says Johnson. I wonder how many times the word lentils in that paper. It must be a lot. But yeah, our results indicate the lentils from the Lanzarote have contributed not only to their name but also their genes to Spanish lentils. With the climate change that is now taking place, Canarian lentils adapting to growing in dry and warm conditions may be of great interest for future plant breeding. And there you go, ADNA, as you say, heritage crop, legacy crop. And it probably has an important role to play in our near future for food continuing
food
to
production.
be available. Yeah.
Yay!
So there
Well,
you go.
bonus story this week, Mark.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But first, a question.
Okay.
Who is the world's first known author?
God. I don't know. I don't
Did
know.
God have a pen, Mark?
Did God have you again? I refer you back to Charlton Heston on the mountain.
Let's not get into the problems with univocality. So the correct answer, because I was about to scream wrong, the correct answer is a priestess in Sumer,
Yes,
and her name is Enheduanna, and she's the priestess of the moon god or Inanna, who's the servant of the goddess Inanna, daughter of Sargon, king of the world. That's an amazing title. But she is the first known author. And the story is all about the fact that when they discovered the disc unearthed with her information on it, and now it's being shown again.
Okay.
And so she is the first known author. Mark will put on the screen the beautiful disc that it's an alabaster disc measuring 10 inches across, dating to the Akkadian period. And Hedwana, the first named author in the world ever done, is wearing a headdress and a tiered crown. And we get to see it. So it says 4,000 years ago, the world's first author composed verses that helped forge the Akkadian Empire. And so when this specific disc was unearthed, Assyriologists, scholars specialized in ancient Mesopotamia were already familiar with the historical figure of Enheduanna as the author of the Sumerian songs and the hymns dating back to the Akkadian period. Now they have a face to put to one of the most famous names that was only then beginning to emerge from 4 millennia of obscurity. It's incredible, says Yale University Assyriologist Benjamin Foster. She's the only author in the entirety of Sumerian literature whose name we actually know, and the only author in an entire 2,500-year span of Mesopotamian history of whom we actually have contemporary illustration. We actually have a picture of the world's first author now. And
Nice,
that's it.
nice.
So, and Hedwanda's father was Sargon the Great.
Mhm.
That was the founder of the Akkadian Empire, and she was priestess. And so there you go. That's we have a nice face now to put to the world's first author.
Do you think she'd still get screwed over by Amazon Publishing?
Oh, I think she'd still get wrecked by the publishing industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, luckily these were she composed hymns so of course her dedication to Inanna was the gratitude, and she was already a princess, so she already had money. She was fine.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Or at least she's just daughter to King Sargon the Great, so she was all right. I mean, she helped maintain the Akkadian Empire. I don't think she would have factored into thinking about royalty.
Yeah, she wasn't worrying about how much Bezos was keeping. Yeah. Okay. No, that's really
No, her dad was Bezos. She
Yeah.
doesn't need to worry about anything. She's fine.
Cool. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. I guess all that remains really is to encourage you guys at home to go and check out whatever it is that Michelle and I are up to in other places. We're both fairly active on the TikToks. Michelle, of course, has a YouTube channel which is linked below, Legends and Lectures.
Yes, you've only been on it several times.
I know. If I always get it muddled up. It's either Legends or Lectures, Legends and Lectures.
As long as you get the two words right in any order is fine.
Perfect. Fantastic. So yes, do check it out below, and also as well, keep an eye out for an upcoming watching brief special this week. This is something which I'm not going to talk about in this episode, because in Archaeoscoop we do not talk about negative things and negative news unless it
starts with the I word.
I
right,
knew you were
Mark?
going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. But you know what? At least I don't think this might be a world record. I don't think I've made a pun in this episode.
Oh God. No. All right, let's end it. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Bye.